Let's take you live now to Peter Dutton. He's the opposition leader. He's talking about his social media policy. We'll get some more detail. Let's go live now.
Younger children in particular, there's a high prevalence of many mental health conditions and issues around body image, bullying online. We've seen some tragic consequences as a result of that online environment having a negative impact on the minds of young, impressionable Australians, and it's true around the world as well. The question is, what do we do about it? The one option that you can take is just to do nothing and allow a lawless environment to prosper and allow these companies to continue to profit at the expense of Australian children and their future. Or you can take the path that we're proposing now, and that is that there is age verification in place, that we don't allow young, impressionable minds onto social media without any guardrails. And as David rightly has said in relation to this issue before, it's inconceivable that you would just allow your 13-year-old to go down to a local park and just start mingling with any random person who comes by, or that you would have a magazine on the table with all sorts of explicit content in it, and that you would allow your kid to flick through that content. I mean, it's inconceivable. So there's a lot that we can do, and the technology is trending in our favour to make sure that we can deal with the scale of the problem. Nothing's ideal, but we want to make sure that we can help parents in that conversation, help keep Australian children safer than they otherwise would be. And I'm really pleased to say that David's done some amazing work and obviously has a level of expertise and experience here that very few people do. And as the Shadow Minister for Communications, he's really worked up a very significant policy. I also want to acknowledge the work of News Corp, who I think has really pushed very hard for an outcome that is right for our country. And also Whipper and Fitzy yesterday. They've almost got 100,000 signatures on their online petition. I signed it yesterday, and I'd really encourage Australians to visit the Nova website to sign up to the 36-month campaign, because we can make a really positive difference here. It'd be great to work with the Prime Minister. I don't understand what the government's hesitation is at the moment, but this is one of those issues where we can try and help protect kids online, try and help families and parents have the tools that they need to help protect their children. But it's one of those issues that really should be approached on a bipartisan basis, and we'd be really happy to work with the Prime Minister and the government to see the outcome here and send a very clear message that both sides of Parliament stand united against the scourge of social media and its influences on young minds. Consume it in a responsible way, and that's our offer of friendship to the government today to make sure that we can join up together on these really important issues. I'll hand over to David, and then I'll have a few more questions and a few more statements, and then I'll take some questions.
Thanks, Peter, and good morning, everyone. Well, we know we can't rely on social media companies to enforce age limits to protect kids, so we're going to force them to. This issue is one of the defining issues of our era. If we went back 20 years ago and we said, here's what we're going to do. We're going to create a situation where any child can communicate with any random adult anywhere on earth who can provide pretty much whatever material they want to them, we would have said, well, we can't do that. That would be a disaster. And yet that's what's happened. And the social media companies have let Australian families down because they don't enforce age limits. The age limit of 13 is clearly too young in the first place. And secondly, they don't enforce it. And this is a totemic issue in the Australian community. The data that we're seeing in relation to the mental health of Australian kids is really disturbing, especially relating to girls. If you look at things like the self-harm, rates of self-harm hospitalisations of girls over the last decade, we've seen dramatic increases in that. And there's no question in my mind that social media is playing a significant part in that. So the option of leaving things as they are is completely untenable. There is no scenario where the social media companies will do the right thing, and so we're going to force them to. It's the right thing to do, and we hope that the government will get behind this. This shouldn't be a partisan issue. I think every parent worries about this, and so it doesn't matter what your political views are, I think, on this issue. This is something that we should all be able to come together, get behind this, and force the social media companies to do the right thing.